What's up, Reject Nation? It's your boy John Humphrey right here. Can't find my hat. A little bummed about that, but we endure, we move on. You know what? I was actually kind of surprised this weekend because looking at Box Office Mojo, the new Insidious movie has done pretty well. I guess this is kind of surprising. I mean, I'd forgotten the movie was coming out, to be honest. It seems like after they bumped it, they weren't advertising it nearly as much. But it brought in $29.26 million, according to this, the second largest debut of the franchise, topping the third chapter by $7 million, ninth largest opening for Blumhouse Productions, topping the $29 million opening for Paranormal Activity 4. Franchise's gross now over $400 million worldwide. And hey man, I'm always excited to see the peeps over at Blumhouse doing well, and you know, I'm kind of surprised at the responses to this movie. It seems like it's divisive, but people are digging it. Some people at least are digging it. People certainly showed up, so I figured why not check out what the rest of the world has to say. You guys already know my thoughts. If you haven't seen my review yet, click the card, or you know, wait around until the end of this video. I'm sure I'll put it in the end screen. Also, quick shouts out to our video sponsor, Stardust. I'm going to be harvesting people's reactions through Stardust right now, actually. If you don't know it, it's a great app that allows you to record up to 30-second reactions and reviews to any movie, TV show, or trailer that comes out. It's a lot of fun to use, a lot of people on there, some of your favorite YouTubers, as well as just everybody, like just normal people, man. And we're gonna hear from a few of those folks right now. So let's turn up the sound. Let's see what the people have to say right now.
I love a good horror series. I love the way they tie all of their movies together. It was just such a fun movie, and some of the lines were just hilarious. I even screamed out loud in the theaters. It's a huge deal for me. I don't normally do that, so that was a good jump scare that I was not anticipating, so well played.
Okay, I didn't scream out loud, but I certainly curled up a few times, and I'm glad to see some enthusiasm, maybe a bit higher of a rating than I would have given it, but hey, I'm just psyched to see people enjoying this, you know? Let's hear from another one. Let's go.
Hey guys, I figured I'd make it nice and dark and spooky for this little Stardust review, but
Appreciate that.
Insidious The Last Key, I think it's pretty good. Kind of boring at the beginning, but in the middle it really picks up. This is really the story of Elise, played by Lynn Shay, and there's some nice little plot twists along the way, and it ties in real nice with the first movie, so I'd recommend it, definitely.
Yeah, I'm kind of with that guy. I mean, I kind of disagree with the beginning being boring. For me, the middle is actually where a lot of the pacing problems happen in this movie. But even though it seems like we enjoyed this on different levels, I do agree there's some really cool plot twists in there that even if they are crowded, you know, are still pretty good ideas. And it does tie into the first movie. I mean, they all kind of tie into each other and they do some of that like space-time warping stuff. I appreciated that as well. Good catch.
Okay, I hate to admit it, but I have never seen any of the Insidious movies before this one. Wow, I was actually impressed. It was quite good. I like the fact that it was actually an older woman who was the hero rather than a bunch of teenagers. I'm sure I missed a lot, so I'm going to have to go back and check out the other films. Thumbs up.
Nice. I actually think that's cool, especially for somebody going in cold. That's definitely something I thought about when I was watching this movie. Is, you know, representation is a thing, and it's gotta be cool, especially if you are an older person, to see a movie like this, like he said, not head up by teenagers, led by, you know, an older woman, and a woman at that, you know, an older woman. Like, I think that it really is a cool thing. It's nice to see that, you know, that is a kind of resonant thing about this. And it's always gonna be the most complete if you've seen them all, but I like that, you know, people who are seeing this without having seen all the other ones are still kind of getting it. Oh, 2 stars.
Last Key was by far the worst in the series. I also saw this with a terrible audience, and that did have to do something with that. In my mind, I kind of have little blank spots of what happened. The movie was a little entertaining, I will say that, but I was a little bit let down by it, and I want to watch it again because I felt like I missed maybe some major plot points.
You know what, that's fair. I've had some pretty crappy screening experiences in my life that have affected not only my feelings about a movie, but just how much of it I was able to process at the time. Namely, I went to see Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which is a divisive movie anyway, but I went to see that on opening night at like the only theater I could find it at City Walk. I was in like the front left, because that was all there was left, and the audience was so rowdy. It was like I didn't even see that movie until it came out on DVD, basically. So I feel you with that. And the way the movie unfolds, especially towards the middle, like if you're distracted by other people, there's definitely stuff you're gonna miss in this new movie. Oh, we got a 1 star. Let's see how this goes.
I just got done watching Insidious The Last Key. Guys, it's really terrible. If you liked Insidious 1, I'd stay away from it. The acting's okay, but the writing doesn't give them anything to do. A black mark in the series' history so far.
Dang. is not pleased with this. You know, I'll give you that there is definitely some of the writing, for sure, that is a lot thinner than some of the other writing. I don't agree that they give them nothing to work with. However, there are a lot of people who show up in this movie who don't get much to work with. I mean, Elise, Tucker and Specs, and a couple of the ghost figures are the ones who get the most to do. And that's a fair point. It could definitely use some more balance, I'll give you. I don't think it's terrible, though, by any stretch.
As prequels go, I think Insidious really does a good job. This one answers some questions, and it kind of fills in the empty spaces, and they finally got rid of that high-pitched noise.
See, that's a thing I've seen some divisive responses to, because I know a lot of people kind of hated the shrill soundtrack, but since they've removed a lot of that from this movie, I see a lot of people really missing it, which is funny to me. I don't know if this is a favorite necessarily for me out of the franchise, but I do think some of the best moments are in here, and there are some moments that are probably some of my favorites out of all four of them for sure. And it does answer a few questions, I will give you that, especially discussing like Star Wars and J.J. Abrams so much lately. I do gotta appreciate that they don't open up a puzzle box or bring up a cool question with no intent of answering it with these movies. Usually whatever weird thing they bring up, they have an idea as to how to pay off. Even if you don't like that idea, I do gotta applaud them for that, because the mysteries are actually sort of rewarding.
What is up, guys? I just saw Insidious: The Last Key, and I can say it was alright. It wasn't the best movie I've ever seen, obviously, because I like the first one the best, but I love this one because it actually had some comedy in it. I loved the scares. Honestly, it got me, so loved it.
Comedy? I hear a lot of people complain about the comedy, and I do get it. I understand what's not to like about Tucker and Specs, because they are sort of the core from which the comedy in these films flow. But I am happy to see somebody shout that out, just because I think they're pretty funny most of the time. There are definitely some cringeworthy scenes in the new movie featuring them, but I always appreciate, again, these movies for bringing comedy as one of their elements, and that helps with the zany factor, so yeah.
Good luck trying to stay awake for this one. It's very boring. Beginning 3/4 of the picture with her trying to search for answers to something. The creatures were coming out of nowhere with the whole jump scare thing. It was just really lazy horror. Animal Creation was better. A whole lot of the better movies.
Funny to hear Annabelle Creation come up in this conversation, because I did get some vibes of that. They do definitely borrow from the current trend of period piece throwback horror movies in interludes in this. But if you're not overly invested in the character of Elise, I can see how this might be a bit boring. And yeah, like there are some horror movie jump scares and stuff. I do get that. So if you're not a fan of jump scares, I can definitely see those being a detractor for you, because there are some that do sort of just come out of nowhere and you're like, oh, of course you made me jump. Well, I do think there are some others that are pretty clever. I can't begrudge you that complaint. That's fair. And that's a big matter of your own personal taste as it comes to horror.
I checked out Insidious Chapter 4 last night, and it just was okay. Being that it was supposedly going to be the last one, I just wish they would have concluded it a little better than they did, you know?
I guess I can see that. I'm sort of unclear as to where this fall, like if this is going to be the last one or not. I mean, they've done well with it, so I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't the last one. At least wasn't the last one before they, decide to revitalize it later. And yeah, like this is the conclusion of the series, and I could definitely see you being a little bit let down by some of it just because it is an uneven movie. But on the other hand, if it is the last outing for this series, I mean, I do like what they chose to dedicate that to, if that makes any sense. And there is a lot of stuff that's successful in that.
So, having never seen the second or third installment in this series, I actually kind of liked it. Liked the monster design, loved the characters. Overall, it was a pretty enjoyable movie.
Guy's got a cool dinosaur head. I like that. That's actually something that's kind of curious to me too, is, watching the first one and the fourth one, I can almost see how that might be a different experience, because the first one is just the introduction to everything that's Insidious, and then your very next impression is diving directly into the character of, the medium. I kind of wish I could have, in an alternate universe, experienced it that way, just to see what it might have been like. But to see, somebody skipping from 1 to 4 and still enjoying it a lot is kind of a neat thing. So yeah, I don't know. It seems like the reactions on this movie are pretty mixed overall, but few people seem to flat out hated. Even the capsule responses I've seen on Rotten Tomatoes that are rotten are like, well, it's not without certain high points, you know? Like, everybody's pointing out something to appreciate, even if they don't like the movie very much overall. I'm happy to see them do surprisingly well with this, especially if it is the last outing. It feels cool to dedicate that to the kind of heart and soul of the franchise over time. Yeah, keep on trucking, old BH. Anyway, you guys can subscribe to The Real Rejects. Click that notification bell to get updated every time a review or a video is out. Follow us first on the Stardust app. Click the link below to download that. And if you love us and you want to come join us in a more personal environment, check out our Patreon. Until next time, peeps, my name is John. Cheers.